So I'm Alistair Duffey. I'm a PhD student at University College London. I'm also a scientist at the non-profit Reflective. I pursued the path of climate intervention research because I felt that it was an under-researched topic relative to how important it could be. I knew I wanted to do climate science research. I knew I wanted to do a PhD, but I looked around the field and I thought that there were just very, very few people working on such an important topic and very large open questions that needed to be solved, and it felt like a high impact space to be working in. Yeah, so I'm a climate modeler. I research the Arctic impacts of stratospheric aerosol injection. So that includes kind of low altitude scenarios, which would be in the polar regions, but also trying to understand the kind of physics of why we see certain changes in the Arctic in particular under global SAI scenarios. Yeah, thank you. So I'm coming up to the end of my PhD. For me, I think the thing I was most surprised by perhaps was some of our simulations suggested that these lower altitude SAI scenarios, so scenarios injecting with existing aircraft at perhaps 13 to 15 kilometers rather than newly developed aircrafts, that those scenarios could still achieve significant, meaningful global cooling. And that took me and my supervisor and others somewhat by surprise, and I think changed some of the policy thinking, the logistics thinking around what it would mean to do SAI, even if those scenarios would not be ideal in many ways. I think there's huge value in the Climate Intervention Network and this event we've just had. For me, it's about building this diverse group of voices that can represent a positive vision of what research can mean in this field and can be there to fight back against voices that are not constructive in this field and to fight back against the interests of those who don't necessarily have the same values that we hold, which is fundamentally, I think, about trying to protect people around the world from the impacts of climate change.